What brings you to Harvard Arab Weekend? What is your story? You can open your eyes now. Welcome to HAW Talks. My name is Aya Darwaze, and I'm a senior here at the college. As a firm believer in the power of storytelling to enact change, this is the second year that I chose to get involved with HAW Talks. My hope is that you will not only listen very carefully to the 4 incredible speakers that will present to you tonight, but also that you will think about their stories and think about how they relate to your own personal stories. And more importantly, think about how you can be a part of this ripple movement and enact social change. Without further ado, I'd like to introduce my first speaker of the night, James Garrett. James is an American residing in Jordan currently, working on his nonprofit, Think Unlimited. Please allow me to welcome James.
Thank you, Aya. I'd like to start my talk tonight with a simple question. What makes you mad? What is that thing that gets under your skin? That problem that you can't stop talking about that keeps you up at night? For some of you, it may be the mixing of money and politics. For others, it might be the discrimination experienced at US airports. Still others, it may be something as simple as traffic. I know some of you will have to wrestle with some nasty traffic tomorrow morning to get here. It may be sexual harassment, it may be workplace discrimination. And I know a lot of you will lie awake at night wondering how the kind of suffering that goes on in the world in places like Syria can just go on and on. For me, in 2008, it was what my country was doing overseas in Iraq. I don't need to remind most of you what was happening in 2008, but this was the end of the Bush years. And I was newly married, and my wife and I were just done with what was happening overseas. We were sick and grossed by the gross caricature that had been painted about the Middle East, about Arabs, about Muslims. And without ever having lived in the Middle East, we didn't know any more than what we could read in books and the few friends that we had. So in order to try to understand this part of the world that was foreign to us better, we decided to take a big step in our life. We joined Peace Corps, and we moved across the world to Jordan. As I'm sure you can imagine, those first few months, we were living in a small village outside of a town called Mafraq, about a 4,000 person village, living with the host family. And we had a lot of assumptions that were completely shattered. A lot of things that we just didn't ever expect were part of our experience. And we learned slowly what people who had been painting with these broad strokes in our country were really like. One of the things as Peace Corps volunteers that we started doing was working in the education system. And this thing that keeps you up at night, this problem that you care about, interestingly has a way of changing over time. And so for me, this, while we were working with our students, my problem, the thing that started keeping me up at night, was the fact that the hundreds of students that we worked with hated school. And I can't blame them, because most of their experience of education was defined by rote memorization. And more, all around the world, the same thing is happening. So many bright, passionate, energetic, optimistic young people, in part of a system, no fault of their own, was utterly failing them. Learning a skill set that, as we all know, is basically obsolete, which is how to memorize stuff. And so I couldn't stop thinking about it. How is it possible that a system like education, this thing that was supposed to inspire and ignite and create innovation and critical thinking, was absolutely killing it? And I couldn't stop thinking about it. So we started small, my wife and I. And the first summer we were there, we started this program, a summer program called Brain Camp, where we were trying to work on basic sort of critical and creative thinking with the young people that we worked with in a way that was engaging and interesting and fun. There's a big story in between there and where we are now, but I don't have time to tell it. Now we run our own nonprofit called Think Unlimited, and we work primarily in universities, offering a year-long course on creativity and innovation. But we've been wrestling with this question of how education can be a catalyst for igniting the unlimited potential of Arab youth. And I won't say we've found a silver bullet or a magic pill, but there's a few things that we've learned along the way. And the first is that the future of the region sits squarely within the youth bulge. As an organization, we decided that we had to take a dramatic step and actually stop trying to use adults as mediators to reach youth and actually go directly to youth themselves. So what we do is we hire young, talented, highly educated diaspora talent, and we bring them to Jordan for a year to be our teachers in this program. And I'm telling you, there's something magic that happens when you take that adult authority figure out of the classroom and you allow students to just be with someone that's closer to their age. All of a sudden, they're willing to say what's actually on their mind. All of a sudden, they're willing to take risks without that sense or fear of being corrected, and it's absolutely transformative. The second thing that we've learned is that you have to meet students where they are. You have to give them a voice and ask them what they care about. So we start our course, much as I did today, asking the question, what makes you mad? What are the problems? What's the problem? What's the thing that you care about most in the world? If there's one thing you could change, what would it be? And their thoughts are often frustrated and hopeful and disillusioned and idealistic. But the important thing is that they're their thoughts, and they're the things that they care about. Most importantly, they're done being handed solutions from those around them. They want to create their own solutions and do it in their own way. The third thing that we've learned is that they want to be a part of something bigger than themselves. They want to be a part of a movement. Not only do they want to create change, they want to create big change, and they want to do it together. So I want you to imagine if every young person from Morocco to Iraq took ownership over a single problem, just one problem that they cared about, and actually created a solution for it, It may be small. Maybe a program, maybe an after-school mentoring program, or maybe a seatbelt awareness campaign, or maybe a YouTube video promoting volunteerism. But imagine the sheer power and possibility of 100 million solutions across the Arab world, driven and created by Arab youth. I want to end my talk with some of the solutionaries that we're honored and lucky to work with, which are some of our own diaspora facilitators, and share with you their vision for the future of the Arab world.
I'm Angela, and I'm an Arab.
I am Reem, and I'm an Arab.
I'm George, and I'm an Arab.
I'm Michelle, and I'm an Arab.
I am Farah, and I am Arab.
I'm Shahid, and I'm an Arab.
I'm Sarah, and I'm an Arab.
I'm Ahmed, and I'm an Arab.
I'm Maria, and I'm an Arab.
I'm Samia, and I'm Arab.
I'm Jamila, and I'm an Arab.
We've been called
troublemakers,
uneducated,
violent,
a liability,
confused,
unprepared,
lazy, too religious,
not religious enough,
terrorists,
a problem.
A problem.
We are not a problem.
We are the solution.
It's time.
It's time.
It's time to think differently about the future of the Arab world.
We are the future of the Arab world.
We are Arab youth.
100 million strong.
100 million strong.
100 million strong.
Creating 100 million solutions.
100 million solutions.
We are solutionaries.
The Middle East's new revolutionaries.
Only we can create lasting, positive change in the Arab world.
We are working to create 100 million initiatives
that will build the reimagined societies in which we want to live.
I'm Angela, and I'm a solutionary.
I am Reem, I am a solutionary.
I'm George, and I'm a solutionary.
I'm Farah, and I'm a solutionary.
I'm Michelle, and I'm a solutionary.
I'm Shahid, and I'm a solutionary.
I'm Sarah, and I'm a solutionary.
I'm Maria, and I'm a solutionary.
I'm Ahmed, and I'm a solutionary.
I am Jamila, and I'm a solutionary.
I'm Samia, and I'm a solutionary.
I'm Maria, and I'm a solutionary.
I started out this talk by asking the question, what makes you mad? What's your problem? But the real question is, what's your solution? What is that idea that you have for how to make the world better? After this talk, I want all of you, to join me and have your picture taken, much as you saw in the video, with what your idea is for how you can change the world, and upload it to your social media platform of your choice with the hashtag 100 million solutions. Because the thing is, everybody cares about something. Please join us and show the world that you care enough to do something about it. Thank you.
Wow, that was great. Thanks, James. Let's all be solutionaries. Okay, so next up, we have two students, Ahmed and Hisham. Hisham is a Sudanese-American student, graduate student at MIT, and Ahmed is a Sudanese-British student at the graduate school MIT and Harvard. So please allow me to welcome Ahmed and Hisham.
Okay. Who's ever been to a hackathon at MIT? All right, here we go. Okay, well, I'm about to take you guys all there, okay? So follow with me, okay? Turn your brains on for a second, okay? Let's get this, all right? Ready? So the way we usually do it is they'll have somebody come up, right? And they'll pitch their idea. And it'll either be accepted 100% wholeheartedly by the whole crowd or rejected and destroyed and crash and burn destructively. So the way we start it off usually is we have somebody get up and we say 1, 2, 3, pitch. So y'all can do that, right? Okay, cool. Okay, ready? We're gonna do it together, okay? And Ahmed is gonna tell us about his idea. We're either accept it or reject it, okay? Ready, guys? 1, 2, 3, pitch!
Stop wishing and start doing. This is a phrase that has come to mean the world to me over the past couple of years. When I first came to Cambridge, like many of you, I was just amazed by the great opportunities all around me. Whether it's going to the MIT Media Lab and seeing the latest and greatest showcase in robotics technology, or attending an inspiring talk by Eric Schmidt or Steven Spielberg and having inspired me through his experiences. This conducive environment allowed me to believe in my peer group. People all around me, fellow students, fellow colleagues, were doing amazing things. And I thought to myself, well, you know what? Maybe I can do amazing things too. Now, in my second week here at Cambridge, I attended my first hackathon. It's actually, in fact, where Hisham and I first met. And if you haven't been to a hackathon, because some of you haven't, it's a fantastic experience. You should definitely try it once. What you have is a crowd just like you here today, and a mic up on the stage. And the MC, much like Hisham tried to do, would hype up the crowd so that everyone in the crowd would encourage their fellow students there to come up on the stage and pitch their idea. And at the beginning, everyone would be a little bit hesitant about sharing their idea with the rest of the crowd. But slowly, as the energy builds, you would have a line of people waiting to come and share their idea. Now, the best thing is what happens next. People mingle, they get together, they seek out the people that share their passions, that share their interests, and they start forming teams and they work together towards solving a problem, towards turning their idea into reality. Sounds great, right? So what if we take a slice of that back to our home countries? Now, my home country is Sudan, and Sudan has many, many challenges. A civil war that doesn't seem to want to end, grinding poverty, lack of basic infrastructure, and economic sanctions that seem to accomplish very little other than maintain the status quo. Now, that is the currently how things are. But the flip side of it is the following. You have the untapped potential of the youth, a whole generation that have simply been blocked. And the untapped potential of the youth is what I really care about. So how do we address that? In our experience, it was to find a way to tap into that potential, to really reach them and empower them to solve their own problems. Now, when I go back to Sudan, it saddens me to speak to my cousins, speak to my friends, and hear from them that sense of defeat. That the forces blocking their opportunities are so big and so strong that it's almost impossible to succeed. But it doesn't have to be that way. It doesn't have to be that way. When we went back to Sudan, we were just there for 2 weeks or a summer. And we realized that these challenges are real, that people have real problems that they face up to. But we can't simply wish them away.
And that's right.
We need to take the first steps. We need to take the first steps, no matter how small, no matter how futile, just to help them solve those problems.
And just like Ahmed was saying, we're sort of stuck with this idea that you have these people blocking you almost at every opportunity. And that happened everywhere. And it really just built this sense of defeat. And on the other hand, we had people, I mean, I'm going to be honest, people like myself, essentially Americans, who go through life with this concept of almost false hope. And what I mean is that I grew up with stories of how amazing Sudan used to be, how amazing the Middle East used to be, how there used to be the center of agriculture and resources, how it was an education capital, and how people really used to be able to come to Sudan and learn from Sudanese teachers. I mean, I heard about stories about New Year's parties and how culture used to be different, how Khartoum and Cairo and Baghdad used to be compared to like the rest of the world, used to compare with these European cities. And for a large part of my life, that almost formed my identity. That almost, I heard it so much, I almost decided, what kind of major would I study in? Would it be something that, would support the concept of the old Sudan and how great it was? Should I decide where to live in my life? Should I be in America? Should I be in Sudan? Should I be in the Emirates? Just to support this idea of this old Sudan. And you know what? To be honest, all of it was very much a fantasy. And when a fantasy becomes part of your identity, nothing really comes out of it. You're just wishing. So out of all that, I would tell you that the real story of Hack Sudan, the thing that we did in Sudan, started off in a cafe with a bunch of MIT and Harvard students sitting there for the first time, outside of MIT and Harvard, up in a cafe in Khartoum. And we said, yo, why don't we do a hackathon? And straight up, the first thing that happened is they were like, there's no way this could happen. There's no way this could ever be a possibility. There's too many problems. I mean, where would you do it? It's during Ramadan, you know what I mean? It's hot during the day. People are tired. They're busy at night. There's ain't enough time for this kind of thing, you know what I mean? And more importantly, we're all about to leave the country in 2 weeks. How are we supposed to motivate people within 2 weeks to come through to something they never necessarily even heard of? But there was a girl in our group named Amna. She was at the University of Khartoum. She was telling people about MIT. By the by, she mentioned, she was like, okay, we might be doing a hackathon. And something amazing happened. 70 people straight up at that event right then and there signed up to do that hackathon. And so we looked to ourselves, we were like, okay, I guess we got to do this thing. So those people joined up on the Facebook page. And they posted questions like, this one dude posted with just an exclamation point and a question mark. He was like, Man antum, who are you guys? And we had like when someone tells you that, you're just like, what did you mean? Like culturally, physically, stuff like that. But it's interesting, right? But we just kept getting bowled over by different surprises. Like along the way, we went to the biggest corporation in Sudan called Dal Group, and we talked to them. We were like, yo, do you want to support us in this? And the first thing they were like is, of course, cautious and suspicious. We negotiated for about a week, and out of nowhere, they just came through, and they were like, you know what? You can use one of our lecture halls. You can use this to have the event. And then another big surprise happened. Day of the event, 50 people actually showed up. 30 of those people pitched ideas. And a lot of these ideas ended up becoming reality. For example, some of them were super technical. For example, there was Miro, which is a voice-activated operating system. So essentially, there was these two kids, one's 13 and 14, teamed up with some high school, with 2 college students, and they made an app that essentially enabled you to talk to your computer, turn on Facebook, turn on WhatsApp, all these different things. So I was just blown away right there. But there were other ideas too, ideas that went into social issues. For example, an educational website, which connected people to teach them more about how to figure out what majors they should take and what to do to actually succeed in college. And then there was apps about governance, telling people what documents they need to get before they go to a government office or what signatures they need so they didn't have to wait in the sun just to go back home to come back again. And that's a real story. And then there was other social apps, things about new delivery services, even before things like TaskRabbit were here in America, where there was kids who were under sanctions in Sudan thinking about that. and traffic, real-time traffic through crowdsourcing. So all these ideas ended up coming to real, and that was the coolest thing. Something happened in Sudan that doesn't typically happen at MIT Hackathon. There were just as many people at the closing ceremony as there were at the opening ceremony. 12 teams presented their projects, what they actually built in a week, and it was amazing. In fact, one team came out, they built these set of trash bins, very colorful, very tasteful, that they were going to put all across the city to engender a concept of taking care of the city and making it clean. And there was a person, representative from the Dell group in the audience, right then and there just said, "Stop, we want to partner with you on this." And everyone in the room was just shocked, and it was amazing. So for me, this concept of like Hack Sudan was just a way to stop fantasizing and start actualizing, start making something real. We had $300, 2 weeks, and a hell of a lot of doubt. However, in reality, we discovered there was a sea of untapped potential ready to knock down each of those barriers. More specifically, 6 months after we left the country, after we just flew away, as many organizations do, the Hack Sudan team in Sudan put on another event. This time bigger, this time better, even more sponsors. And ever since then, I mean, really just in general, there's just been this growing community of people who are just doing entrepreneurship and everything like that. I only say that as a shameless plug because Startup Weekend's happening right now in Khartoum. You should check that out, as well as TEDx and a lot of other things, and all across the world, especially in the Arab region. But what I wanted to come and tell you guys today, which is really important, is that the concepts of hopelessness, defeat, false hope, and fantasy, they can all be replaced by real hope. And what is real hope? Real hope is real people. It is real struggles, real dreams, real potential, youth taking their destiny into their own hands. And as we look across the region, that's what we see. We have a huge generation of people who are ready to achieve greatness. And you guys, imagine what you can do when you go back to try to tap into that. And I promise you it's amazing. I leave you with the words of the Hack Sudan director, Doha Khalifa. She's in Sudan. And she couldn't be here with us today, but she didn't want to hear this. She said that everyone should care about these hackathons because they result in great ideas, great projects, and great people. It brings out the best of Sudan and encourages the youth to express their ideas and beliefs. At the end of the day, we are the youth and we are the future of Sudan, so why not start building that future now? Stop wishing, start doing. Thank
you. Okay, thank you. Wow, that was great. Next up, I'll be introducing another male. We need some female representation on this panel, guys, so let's make sure we get that next year. But next up, I'll be introducing Jawad, who's an Egyptian studying at the Kennedy School of Government. Please allow me to introduce Jawad.
It's hard to try to inspire after what I just heard, and I'll just maybe kind of explain how I got into Kennedy School, because I think I'm not really the type of student that should be actually in the Kennedy School. And just maybe some of the people like me here, I give them some hope, and then I'll be happy. So I was, I was in Egypt. I was expelled from 3 schools, and wasn't like I did the big thing. So I was doing like maybe a lot of small suspensions, and then the end of the year they're like, "So, thank you, we don't need your services anymore." And after I actually graduated from high school, and what happened is someone asked me actually a serious question, and this question actually changed my life. And the question was, "Hey Jawad, I mean, because I like all the parties and that stuff. So on the outside, I have this image, but he sat with me. He's like, I just want to ask you one question." I was like, "Sure." It's like, "Are you happy?" Huh? Are you happy? It kind of took me by surprise. And when I went back home and I sat in my room at night, and actually I wasn't happy. So maybe I can, try to ask you guys, are you guys happy? not the Facebook أو duck face who يعني like are you guys are you really happy, right? And the thing is, like, most of us, a lot of people, like, even coming to Harvard and like thinking, this is great, people strive for like money, power, or fame, and they think, people with a lot of money, a lot of power, and a lot of fame are happy, right? Isn't this what we think? So let me ask you, do you guys think most people who have money, power, and fame are happy or not? How many people think people who are very rich, people who are very powerful, people who are very famous are happy? Raise your hand. So can you imagine like 2-3 people? And the strange thing that all of us are actually striving for the same path that they were looking for. And what I did is, when this happened, and actually what I did, I got a Maclean's magazine. How many people know the Maclean's magazine? It has the university ranking for Canada. So I got the Maclean's magazine. I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna leave. I'm not staying in Egypt. I'm gonna just like I don't know. I'm just gonna leave Egypt. So I opened the magazine. I mean, you know how Arabs choose university, the most expensive university. So I chose it. Was in Nova Scotia. How many people know Nova Scotia? Yeah. So like 4 people. So it's like a white, nice Canadian town that I go to. Acadia University in Nova Scotia. It was like minus 30 degrees. Completely unexpected. And I was like, what am I doing here? But anyways, it was actually one of the best experiences in my life. And my first shock was taking my first exam. So, in Egypt, we have this exam experience that is different from most people in the world. Like sharing is caring, and and I thought I'm coming to this culture that I'm bringing something, to these people. Some skills that I can actually, affect. And I go to this exam, and we all had laptops, and I assumed that there's no laptops, and like we usually have like 2 miles separation in Egypt between each other, but we're actually like sitting as close as you guys in an exam. And for me, it was so weird. Like what? Anyways, just cut it short. I saw exam distributed. Nobody's cheating. Nobody's sharing. And the professor leaves the class, and the exam ends. I'm like so confused. So I was like, I'm just gonna go to someone and like ask him, just I was like, what's going on? Like, I really want to know what's the deal. Like, maybe they have something. So I go to this white guy. I was like, excuse me, I have a question. He's like, yeah, sure. I was like, you guys don't cheat? And I was like, what? Like, anyway. His answer actually changed my life. He like, I think he just, swallowed the shock, and then he processed what I said, and he said, and that was very, very powerful to me. He said, why should I cheat? I paid for my own education. If I don't want to study, I do something else with my money. I was like, ya ibn al-eh. Well, it's so true. Like everything we got, like I don't like everything, like my school, my clothes. We live in this like comfort zone. I don't know about like, and not like white people, like Arabs. Like really, everything is done for us, right? So my mom would care more about my studies, and my dad, because they paid for it. Because I didn't pay for anything, so I didn't really care, right? So I was like, wow, man, that's so true. I think he was so surprised that I was like, surprised. But I was like, I'm gonna like work and like pay for my own school. I was like, yeah, way to go. So, here I am like from this like Egypt, coming from this American international schools, and I applied for this like cleaning job, So I applied for like, I worked for like, I worked in the kitchen. I cleaned toilets. I did a security job. I did a door-to-door salesman. That was like my best job in the world. So can you imagine, like, I'm this Egyptian going and knocking on the door, and someone like swears at me and slams the door in my face. It's like, you don't know who I am, huh? You don't know who the son I am? So the first 2 weeks, I know Egyptians would understand, our Arabs would understand that, but I would like, in the first 2 weeks, I would actually like, have this tears in my eyes, like, what, like, what's happening to me? Like, what is this? Like, this is not what I thought it would be. But when I actually got my first paycheck, I tasted, for the first time in my life, a completely different taste. Like, I actually cared about, I know for some people it doesn't sound, but for me it was that I cared about my shirt, right? Not, destroying my shirt. I actually cared about my education. Like, I had a stake about it. And the door-to-door salesman thing, I had an Egyptian, he wasn't Egyptian, he was born here, but he's originally Egyptian. Because someone would swear at me, it's like, hey, like, how many people get door-to-door salesmen? How many, yeah? Yeah, what do you guys usually do? Yeah, what do you do? So yeah, someone like swear at you, like slam the door in your face, you idiot. I'll be so upset. And he's like, why are you upset? He's like, he called me an idiot. I'm not. I'm like, he's like, so you're not an idiot, so why are you upset? I was like, he's like, if you're a tall guy, okay, and someone called you short, would you be upset? I was like, no. But if you're short, and someone said you're short, would you get upset? He's like, yeah. Because there's something true to it. So if you're tall and you're smart, then it's amazing. So now, like, you can, if you don't like my lecture, you can try it out. But like, say whatever swear word you want, and and I try it out with different people. So I learned that not to get upset. If I'm really confident in what I have, then I don't care what people say. And that gave me a lot of guts to try different things. And the taste of, actually my getting, a different taste than I was born in Egypt, of, having my own income and paying, I realized that we live in a bubble, or I lived in a bubble in Egypt. So I said, you know what, I'll try a lot of different things. And one of the things I realized, is that asking myself about also having this conscious thing about happiness, am I happy or not? I said, maybe maybe I can be happy, and maybe what I was living in Egypt in the bubble, maybe that was the reason why I wasn't happy. And what I did is I actually decided, and that sounds weird, but I actually decided to leave Canada after I graduated and worked and go back to Egypt. Of course, the question, what do you guys think the first question you get when you go from Canada to Egypt? What are you doing here? The flights are usually that way, not that way. And everyone's like, why are you back? I was like, what do you mean I'm back? People, had the one-way ticket. Why are you back? I said, I don't know. I just felt Canada so nice. Like, there's nothing to do. Like, it took me, I think 2 years passed, and I was not upset, not even once. I come from Cairo. Like, Cairo is, everything is so nice. Canadians are so nice. Everything is like, no, I feel like this is not what I'm made of. I need action. So I know I worked in this, I started with friends of mine, like this consultancy company. I was doing well in business and also restaurants. And then I had met this guy from this village in Upper Egypt. And he told me, by the way, that telling me about his village. And he's saying, in Minya, in Matai, you can help, help people get water and electricity. I was like, what do you mean? He's like, for like average $70, you can actually install water and electricity in someone's house. I was like, so $70 you can get someone with no water and electricity to having water and electricity? He's like, yeah. Wow. So it was true. I started, collecting money from family and friends, and for $70, you take someone from, a Stone Age to actually, to actually being, a different human being, a human being. He feels as he's human. And the feeling I would never forget, and that actually formed the rest of my life, is when I go back to this village after installing this water and electricity and meeting with the people or the families who actually got the water and electricity. They'll be so happy, and they'll be like, they want to hug you and kiss you, and like they're so affected. You changed their life. So you're talking about people did not have water and electricity. And I would remember, I'll say, I am so sure that I'm actually happier than this person that I'm serving. I can swear to you that the feeling that I had in my heart was something that is, priceless. And I got so addicted to it. And I'll go back and remember, sit on the bed and before I sleep, I was like, I am so happy. I actually changed someone's life. And the biggest also incident, and I started doing this and started growing really fast, and it has a huge effect. But 2010, my best friend, Omar, had an accident and he passed away. And, I've never in my life actually been affected by, until now, not a relative, not anyone's, death as much as Omar. And it wasn't because how he died or because, his death as much as what happened in his funeral. I have never in my life seen so many people come to someone's funeral. And he was not famous. He wasn't a public figure. And I was keep wondering, why so many people came to Omar's funeral? I couldn't understand. And then I remembered, Omar's nickname was Dhul Ayadi, the one with hands. He would always put his people in front of him. He would, if we're on the 6th of October bridge in Egypt, which is very hard to stop, and sees someone who needs a helping hand in a tire, he would stop. He would always find someone who needs something and it would help them. And that's how I said, I want to be like that. And if this is my happiness, and this is my ending, so my life is happy and my ending is good, that's what I want to do. So 2011 revolution came, and we went down to the streets. You guys saw it on TV, but the feeling that we had in the streets marching, عيش حرية عدالة اجتماعية, bread, freedom, and social justice, and just calling freedom, and we'll be calling people in the buildings, right? In Du'i, and we'll be saying, "Inzil ya Masri, Inzil ya Masri, come down Egyptian, come down Egyptian," and people will come down smiling. So people were smiling, and the reason why people were smiling because they knew that whatever they're risking wasn't personal. And that's the difference. It has a completely different taste when you're doing something for your own or something for others. The drive you have and the dedication you have and the reward, not the financial. The emotional reward that you get is unbelievable. I mean, when you hear, for example, my friend who's, someone he's American, he's helping in Jordan, right? That gives you question marks. So as an Egyptian, it's my responsibility. These are my people. Why am I here? Why am I here getting this education? Why am I making money? That question, why are we making money? To make more money and more money, and then what? You get a car, you want another car. You get a small house, you want a bigger house. Isn't that true? So why? Why? What's the purpose? I can swear to you, it's my experience. If everything that I do, if I have an intention, to serve someone else, I'm making money because I can use this money to help someone else. It has a completely different drive. And if people get tired at 7 p.m., you will not get tired and you will be happy doing it. And after the revolution, I decided to move to one of the largest slum areas in Egypt and form an NGO called Nibni Foundation. And Nibni Foundation has been my life. And it's been what I live, what I dream. We work mainly in education. And I would have loved if I had a chance to show you the letters that I get from the children. Children that in 3 months, you can get them to read and write. In 3 months. And it's so simple. We're not doing magic. And I'm telling you, every single one of you here who has actually a little bit, just the fact that you travel abroad, you're you're from the 2% of the population that did not even travel. So you have a completely different perspective, like a consultant. What does a consultant do? They have a fresh eye. So even if one person, If you can help one person, do it. And that's the message why the Harvard Arab Talks. Because you guys are privileged. We are. We have a certain education. So how I came to Harvard, I think that what got me to Harvard. Because when they asked me why you want to be here, I was like, if through an NGO we can help like 140,000 people, if I'm able to see different world experiences and be able to change one policy, one just policy memo or policy execution that is made by a certain government, I can change millions of people's life. And that would make me happier. And that's why I'm here. Thank you very much.